There are places in this world best left undisturbed, forgotten corners where the veil between our world and the next wears thin, places where the past refuses to die. This is the story of one such place, a place consumed by shadows and silence. They say every town has its secrets, but some secrets are best taken to the grave. This is a secret whispered on the wind, a secret that chills the very marrow. This is the secret of Raven's Hollow. It began like any other Halloween, a crisp autumn night, the scent of wood smoke and pumpkin spice in the air. Children, their faces painted with ghoulish glee, ran from door to door. Raven's Hollow was alive with festivity, unaware of the darkness lurking just beyond the circle of lamplight. As the witching hour approached, a strange silence descended. The laughter died away, replaced by an unsettling stillness. And then, they were gone. Every man, woman, and child in Raven's Hollow vanished without a trace. Raven's Hollow, a forgotten name now, swallowed by time and tragedy. But once it was a place of life, however humble. Nestled deep in the Appalachian Mountains, it was a town hewn from the very heart of the wilderness. A place where life was hard, but community was strong. Most folks in Raven's Hollow earned their living from the mountain. Coal mining was their lifeblood, their curse, and their constant companion. The men, hardened by years of toil, descended into the earth's belly each day, risking their lives for the black gold that fueled the nation. The womenfolk kept the home fires burning, tending to their families and finding solace in each other's company. Life in Raven's Hollow wasn't easy. The shadow of the mountain loomed large, a constant reminder of the dangers that lurked both above and below ground. But even in the face of hardship, the people of Raven's Hollow clung to hope. They found joy in simple pleasures, in the changing seasons, and in the shared bonds of community. And each year, as the leaves turned crimson and gold, they looked forward to Halloween, a night when even the darkest shadows couldn't extinguish their spirit. On that fateful Halloween night in 1924, the town was alive with the joyous chaos of the season. Children, their faces hidden behind masks of ghouls and goblins, darted through the streets, their laughter echoing through the crisp autumn air. The tantalizing aroma of pumpkin pie and roasting chestnuts wafted from windows, mingling with the scent of burning leaves. Inside the community hall, tables groaned under the weight of a veritable feast. Families gathered, sharing stories and laughter, their faces flushed with warmth and good cheer. For one night, at least, the cares of the world were forgotten, replaced by the simple joy of togetherness. It was a night like any other, or so they thought. As midnight approached, a subtle shift occurred in the atmosphere. The air, once filled with the sounds of laughter and merriment, grew heavy, charged with an almost electric tension. The wind, which had been merely a whisper through the trees, began to pick up, swirling fallen leaves into miniature cyclones that danced through the deserted streets. Inside the community hall, conversations faltered, replaced by an uneasy silence. The musicians, who had been playing lively jigs and reels only moments before, laid down their instruments, their faces etched with a mixture of confusion and apprehension. Something was amiss in Raven's Hollow. Something ancient and unseen had awakened in the darkness. From the depths of the surrounding woods, a low, guttural sound began to rise. It started softly, like the distant murmur of the wind through the trees. But as the minutes ticked by, it grew steadily in intensity, morphing into a chorus of whispers, moans, and unearthly cries that sent chills down the spines of even the bravest souls in Raven's Hollow. Some claimed to hear their names being called, their voices distorted and laced with a malice that chilled them to the bone. Others swore they saw shadowy figures moving just beyond the circle of lamplight, their forms shifting and swirling in the fog. Fear, primal and unrelenting, gripped the hearts of the townsfolk. The festive atmosphere evaporated like dew under a scorching sun, replaced by a suffocating blanket of dread. Without warning, the lights throughout Raven's Hollow flickered and died, plunging the town into an impenetrable darkness. Screams fueled by terror and uncertainty pierced the night. The whispers from the woods intensified, swirling around the terrified townsfolk like a vortex of madness. Panic seized the community, shattering the bonds of order and reason. Mothers clutched their children close, their eyes darting about frantically, searching for an escape from the unseen horror that had descended upon their town. Men, their faces grim, fumbled for weapons, desperate to protect their loved ones from whatever evil lurked in the shadows. But there was nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. The darkness had consumed Raven's Hollow, and with it, the hope that had sustained them for generations. And then, as quickly as it had begun, the chaos ceased. The whispers faded into an unnerving silence. The shadowy figures vanished. The only sound was the pounding of hearts still raw with terror and the ragged gasps of those who had fled into the night. Dawn broke over Raven's Hollow, revealing a scene of utter devastation. Homes stood empty, doors wide open as if their occupants had fled in haste. Half-eaten meals lay on tables, toys abandoned mid-play. The townsfolk had vanished, leaving behind only an eerie silence and the lingering scent of fear. As the sun rose, casting long, skeletal shadows across the deserted town, a chilling realization gripped the few souls who had fled into the woods the night before. Raven's Hollow was no more. The silence was deafening. Gone were the sounds of children's laughter, the clang of the blacksmith's hammer, the friendly greetings exchanged across fences. In their place, an emptiness that seemed to seep into the very bones. Those who dared to venture back into the town found their homes exactly as they had left them. Fires still smoldered in hearths, now cold and lifeless. Breakfast tables stood set, waiting for families who would never return. It was as if time itself had stopped at the stroke of midnight, preserving Raven's Hollow in a state of perpetual ghostly suspension. The search for the missing townsfolk began at first light. Men from neighboring settlements, their faces etched with worry and disbelief, combed through the town and the surrounding woods, their calls echoing unanswered through the silent trees. But the missing souls of Raven's Hollow had vanished without a trace. No signs of struggle, no cries for help, no bodies. It was as if they had simply ceased to exist. Even the keen noses of the search dogs were of no avail. They followed the scent of the missing townsfolk to the edge of the woods, only to stop dead in their tracks, whining and pawing at the ground as if perplexed by some unseen barrier. The trail ran cold at the forest's edge. Hundreds of footprints led into the woods, but none emerged. It was a mystery that defied logic, a puzzle with no solution. As days turned into weeks and weeks into months, the mystery of Raven's Hollow deepened. Search parties were disbanded, hope dwindled, and the whispers of the missing townsfolk faded into legend. But the strangest twist was yet to come. When investigators attempted to piece together the history of Raven's Hollow, they were met with an unsettling discovery. All official records of the town, from birth certificates to property deeds to census data, had vanished. It was as if Raven's Hollow had never existed, wiped from the face of the earth and the collective memory of mankind. The mystery deepened. swirling into a vortex of speculation and dread. What had become of the inhabitants of Raven's Hollow? Where had they gone? And why had all trace of their existence been so thoroughly erased? Eventually, the search for answers was abandoned. The authorities, baffled and defeated, declared Raven's Hollow a tragic anomaly, a mystery for which there was no logical explanation. Life went on in the surrounding towns, but the memory of Raven's Hollow lingered, a chilling reminder of the fragility of existence and the unseen forces that shape our destinies. The town itself fell into disrepair, its empty houses and deserted streets slowly consumed by the relentless embrace of nature. Soon only whispers remained, whispers carried on the wind, whispered in hushed tones around flickering campfires, whispers that spoke of a town swallowed by darkness, a place where the veil between our world and the next was thin, a place best left undisturbed. The lost town of Raven's Hollow, a chilling testament to the enduring power of fear and the mysteries that lie hidden in the shadows of our world. Decades have passed since that fateful Halloween night. The world beyond the mountains has marched on, its memories short, its attention drawn to brighter, less unsettling things. But in the valley where Raven's Hollow once stood, the past refuses to die. The silence there is different, heavier, shot through with the weight of forgotten things. Locals still speak of the vanished town in hushed tones. Their tales, passed down through generations, have taken on the quality of folklore, a blend of fact, speculation, and chilling embellishment. Some say the town is cursed, a place where the veil between worlds is thin and easily pierced, a place where the restless spirits of the departed still walk among the living. Hikers and hunters tell of strange occurrences in the area. Unexplained lights flickering in the distance. Whispers carried on the wind, too distinct to be merely the rustling of leaves. A feeling of being watched, of unseen eyes following their every move. Some claim to have heard the faint strains of music emanating from the heart of the forest, ghostly echoes of the Halloween celebration that marked the town's demise. Others speak of strange symbols carved into the bark of trees, symbols that predate the founding of Raven's Hollow, symbols that hint at ancient rituals and forgotten gods. Whether these tales are true or merely the product of overactive imaginations, one thing is certain: the memory of Raven's Hollow continues to haunt the region, a chilling reminder that some secrets are best left buried.
So, as the veil between worlds thins this Halloween, and you gather around bonfires to share tales of terror and delight, remember the lost town of Raven's Hollow. Remember the souls who vanished without a trace, leaving behind only an unnerving silence and a legacy of unanswered questions. And if you find yourself drawn to the shadowy corners of the world, to the forgotten places where the past whispers its secrets on the wind, listen carefully. You might just hear the echoes of Raven's Hollow calling to you from beyond the grave. But be warned, some secrets are best left undisturbed, lest you too become a part of the legend.